Intentionally incendiary and provocative by drawing a cartoon. This is the low state of freedom of speech in this country. I disagree, and I disagree most vehemently. The First Amendment, not the 8th, not the 10th, but the first, protects all speech, not just ideas that we like, but even core political speech, ideas that we don't like, because who would decide what's good and what's forbidden? The Islamic State? The government? Inoffensive speech, Allison, needs no protection. But in a pluralistic society, you have offensive speech. You have ideas. You have an exchange of ideas. You don't shut down a discussion because I'm offended. If something offends me, should I go out and slaughter people?
Sure,
when Jesus Christ was put in a jar of urine, it was called art. Did Christians like it? Of course not. Did they slaughter people? Did they burn embassies? Did they kill whole communities? Of course not. This cannot be sanctioned. Yeah, this cannot be sanctioned. The West must stand up for freedom of speech. It's the core fundamental element of this constitutional republic.
I mean, what your critics say about this is that you weren't just going after, say, Al-Qaeda or ISIS or extremism, but even just Islam. I mean, let me read to you a portion, an excerpt from your keynote speaker, Geert Wilders, who said this to the crowd before the attack broke out. He said, "Our Judeo-Christian culture is far superior to the Islamic one. I can give you a million reasons, but here is an important one. We've got humor and they don't. Islam does not allow free speech because free speech shows how evil and wrong Islam is. And Islam does not allow humor because humor shows how foolish and ridiculous it is." Now, of course, that's not about extremism. He's talking about a religion of which there are 3 million Muslims, even here in the United States.
First of all, he's entitled to his opinion. End of story. So what? So he said that. And frankly, what he said was true. There is no humor. The fact is that we need to have this discussion. Allison, there's a problem in Islam. And the problem is we can't talk about the problem. We are seeing the wholesale slaughter of Christians in Iraq and in Syria, in Nigeria, in the Congo, Central African Republic. The jihad is raging. And all we can talk about is backlash of phobia. It's nonsense. We have to be able to discuss. And when you say I'm anti-Muslim, excuse me, I'm anti-jihad.
Okay, so let's talk about this. Harris Zafar joins me now. He's the national spokesperson for the Ahmadiyya Muslim community and the author of Demystifying Islam, Tackling Tough Questions. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
First of all, your reaction to Geller's remarks.
Well, this is just another peg in decades long of ridiculous comments from Pamela Geller. I mean, we stand with her and with everyone who wants to defend freedom of speech. The track record of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community is that as Muslims who believe in the Messiah, we believe that everyone has a right to speak their words, and our faith actually backs that up. It champions free speech. But the problem is, she isn't calling out free speech. She isn't calling out jihadists. She isn't calling out radicals. She and Geert Wilders are anti-Islamic. They are castigating the entire religion of Islam, not just Muslims. They're actually the philosophy that's followed by 1.6 billion people. So that's free speech, but it's hate speech, and it's inciting hatred of religions.
She says, so what? So what? He has a right to his opinion. Big deal.
Oh, I was just simply answering your question. The greater point here is that a violent reaction is never sanctioned, and that's why I dedicate an entire chapter to this in my book, is that to give a detailed analysis that Islam actually does champion free speech. It's not just a talking point. That there's no evidence in the Quran or in the life of Muhammad that says that you're allowed to intimidate others by silencing them. So such acts like this, or Charlie Hebdo, or what others have faced, is a gross violation of Islam, and we condemn it wholeheartedly. And so what we're asking for is partner with us, work with peaceful Muslims who want to eradicate this, who want more dialogue, because the Quran says to respond to speech with speech. Work with
Harris,
us, don't cast us aside.
You would get together with Geert Wilders and Pamela Geller to work on this problem?
Absolutely, because what they're saying is that there's a problem in Islam. I welcome an open public forum debate, so where we can rationally, with words, with our speech, they can advance their arguments of why Islam is radical and evil, and I can advance our arguments within the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, which is proving that Islam does not sanction that. Let the best idea win. That's how we get to the bottom of this peacefully, and but not this tasteless, I'm going to poke you in the eye, and if you respond, you must be an animal. But what about the low moral state of those who think that insulting others with defamatory speech is okay? We need to call both sides out.
Yeah, and you talk about poking in the eye. There are many in the Muslim community. They might say Pamela Geller is certainly guilty of that in New York City. For example, she put up ads in the subway saying, quote, "In any war between the civilized man and the savage, support the civilized man, support Israel, defeat jihad." Many Jewish rabbis in the city were not so happy about these ads, so they ran counter ads. The rabbi's ad said, quote, "In the choice between love and hate, choose love. Help stop bigotry against our Muslim neighbors." Talk about that a bit.
Absolutely. This is the beauty of any faith teachings, which is to see the humanity in others, not to devalue their lives, not to seek ways of division, seek ways of union. So those rabbis, the pastors, the members of all the faiths that we work with, we value that relationship, and it proves that this is a political thing. It's not a religious thing. So Pam Geller is a political figure who seeks to divide people. Geert Wilders is literally a political figure who seeks to divide and to castigate one group aside as being different from the rest. And that's not what you do in a civilized society with moral integrity. So I work with any of these rabbis and pastors who are willing to actually fix society and advance peace.
Harris Zafar, thank you so much for being with me this morning. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Carol. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right.